spoke to Barry Porteous, our founder and laird-elect, honorary laird, many years ago. And I used to come up here and think, well, the hill would, I would like you to picture this first, the hill coming up here, going over here at that height. There was nothing here like that, because this was all earth right the way down there. So I decided it needed a focal point, because Porteous would come from all over the world and just stand on an open knoll. Nothing here. So I said, if I had a focal point, it would be something to make a pilgrimage to. So hence the cairn. But when I first started digging the foundations, it was just behind the minister there. Just behind the Reverend Bob. I went down there about 1.5 feet, and Robbie Scott, the local shepherd, was with me. And I came across what I thought was just a lump of stone. But the more I moved over, I discovered it was the northeast castle, or the northwest castle of the cairn, of the castle, sorry. So I forgot about the cairn. And I started digging with very much enthusiasm, right round. And for quite a few months, every weekend or every opportunity I had, I'd come down here. And they'd say to Wilma, "Where's Tam?" "He's down at Hawkshaw." So they used to call Wilma the Hawkshaw widow, because every spare minute I had, I came down here to dig. Now I eventually dug all that out and found a lot of artefacts that I put in a box, and eventually took them to the museum up in Edinburgh. There was quite a few old coins, some dating back to the 1450s, which to my surprise they gave back to me. But then they decided to keep all the broken bits of pottery, some of it green dating back to the 1100s, and some window glass, some bits of old broken wine bottles. And they gave me £60 for all that rubbish that I found there, and gave me the coins back and said I could keep them. But that was very good. So we got £60 towards the Porteous Associates, and that went into our bank. So after that, I decided to build the cairn here. And as I did dig down for the foundations, I also wanted to use castle stone to build the cairn. All the stone you see there is from the castle. All the stone you see round about is from the castle. And it was old whinstone. Now while I was digging, if you look behind these people here, if you would kindly just move to the side, you'll see the red sandstone. Because whinstone, you can't carve it. But this sandstone, this red sandstone, was brought up from Dumfries, which is not far down the road. And obviously they brought it up by horse and cart. And you can see where the windows where the bars have been in, where we would put the English when we caught them in the dungeon. So don't worry, any English people here, you're safe to get home tonight as long as you pay a levy to me before you leave. But anyway, as I say, I decided to build the cairn there, which we did. But before I started, I wanted the help of a dry stone diker, which is a dry stone waller, and use people that can't understand the Scots. A dike in Scotland is a wall, and he done it. He helped me, and I had dug out, me and my sons, Ross and Lee are here. They were just young lads, but they helped me at times to dig out the stone, and it was enough effort. The stone pile was away up high, and when Gordon Amos, who was a dry stone diker, come up to help me build the cairn, he says, "You've not got enough stone." And I went, "What? It's away up there." He says, "Yes, but when I lay it, it all comes down." So I had to dig again for another few weekends. And eventually we got enough stone to build the castle, to build the cairn, and that's what you see in front of you. Now, when I spoke to Barry over in Canada, I says, "The only thing is, Barry, I would like to put a piece of Aberdeen granite on the top of it, and it weighs nearly £1/4 ton. But the main problem was," I says, "it's going to cost nearly £1,000. And that was quite a few bob. And I says, "How are we going to do this?" Barry says, "Go back, don't worry, I will inform the Porteous Associates, we'll all club together and we'll pay for it. And we'll also pay for anything else that needed done." I had to give the dry stone diker obviously money for the cement, money for hiring vehicles to bring them. Now that weighs nearly £1/4 ton, and it's in the cairn by approximately 2.5 feet. That goes right into the cairn. So it's going to stand there for quite is my wee, when I read that wee poem out, Barry says, don't worry, that's going to go on the cairn. I says, no, you can't put that on the cairn, Barry. And he says, certainly we are. That's going on the other side of the cairn, which I've done. And it's that's my wee poem on the back there. But so the cairn was eventually finished. We finished it in June, July of that summer, 1990. And then we decided the gathering would take place on the 9th of September 1990, which seems like it was yesterday, but it's 25 years ago and I can't believe that. So anyway, after all that's been done, I met up with a guy called Tam Ward from Bigger, and he's the local archaeologist, and he come looking for me with a policeman. And I says, what's wrong? He says, have you been digging at Hawkshaw? I says, aye. He says, well, you know that's an ancient listed monument and you can't move the ground at all. I says, but I spoke to Mrs. Margaret Moffat. She owns all the land here. She gave me permission. He says, that's got nothing to do with it. When it's ancient, an ancient monument, you're not allowed to disturb the ground unless I'm there. And he says, I read it as we go down layer by layer. But I says, I gave all the artefacts to the museum. He says, I still don't care. But he says, well, I won't charge you. We'll no worry about that. We'll go for a beer and talk about it. So, hence, I can't dig here again. But don't tell anybody, I've had a few wee diggings since then. But you can imagine this. A peel tower, up maybe 3 or 4 stories high. You've got to picture that now in your brain. It's quite a substantial, we don't know exactly the size of it, but at the far side I discovered a turnpike staircase, which is a staircase that went spiral up to the top of the castle. Now round about we would have a small village made out of sods of grass and wood.